Did you catch up on the fights this weekend?
I got pretty much from Chidi and Chikwani all the way up to the main event. I did not watch the first three, although I did see the replays more or less, and I got the gist of it. But Aaron Blanchfield winning. Was it that Bordeaux or like the hairy chested welterweight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, that dude
Yeah,
looked
the
pretty
guy that
good.
was wearing a sweater. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
I was on the
Trying to
prelim
figure.
show.
Yeah. Hold on, I got it right here. I did. Yeah, Songwoo Choi versus Jurno Aarons. I did not see that one, but I mean the Liang Na versus JJ Eldridge. I got to see the highlight of that one, and then Billy Goff was his name, who beat Yasuka Kinoshita. God, I'm terrible with these pronunciations.
Who was the guy with the sweater?
Oh, that was Billy Goff.
Billy Goff.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with him though, but like if you're looking at him, you're like, okay, he's just another name. We'll see what happens. Just keep giving him low level guys. That's fine. Oh, you know who I had a issue with when I watched the Song Kenan fight and Ronaldo Bedoya. Bedoya looks like a lightweight who's just not cutting weight. Like when Anthony Pettis went up to welterweight, he literally looks like a guy who's just not cutting weight. Like his arms are thin, his legs are thin, his body just kind of looks a little mushy on the sides. Like his back isn't defined. That's how you know for sure that he's not cutting weight. And Kenan looked like a goddamn middleweight next to him.
Okay.
That was the thing. I would like to see Bedoya go down in weight. I doubt that's going to be the thing that he does though. So I don't know. Is it not good?
No, I think the best thing I thought I saw on the undercard was the Chidi Nchikwani versus the Michael fight, like Oleg Sejuk, Michael Olex.
Yeah, the Polish kid.
Yeah. Any guesses on the last name pronunciation?
Oli Chaychik.
Oli Chaychik. Kind of like Young Jacek, but Oleg Jacek.
Yeah, what's that saying where it's like you can't figure out how to say it because we're not from there? So it doesn't matter if we try.
Yeah, no, he had a really good performance. I mean,
I've always been,
I've been kind of high on him, but
oh well, Chidi looked like a killer when he first came into the UFC, and then 3 straight losses. First one was to RoboCop. Second one was to that like Dagestani young grappler who's not really good at boxing or kickboxing, but is sturdy. And then this guy who had recently just lost to a Brazilian, who was decent at grappling. I mean, this isn't good for Chidi, but it's good for Mikhail Oliasechik. I would say this is a good bounce back win for him.
Yeah, like I thought Chidi actually looked pretty dang good in the opening start, but it's just like I don't know if he fell out of like if he just gassed out or if Michael like figured him out and figured out his timing, but he kind of just put it on him at the end there. It's weird though, because Michael like he really looks like a welterweight kind of up against these big guys. I'd like to see him move down too.
Yeah, he basically came down from light heavyweight too. That was the other thing. He was still smaller up there too, and still knocking people out. He just couldn't handle any grapplers.
Man, that's wild. Maybe Chidi's just huge, but man, he looked a lot smaller.
No, Chidi's super tall. He's like Adesanya. Lazy.
Too.
You good?
Like Chidi looked kind of thick to me too, just like overall. He might be like a
Oh no,
Pierre.
he's a naturally big dude. Yeah, he's naturally big. He's not small.
I finally figured it out.
Oh, did you?
What was it?
Yeah, I'm a fucking moron. I had to press the little icon of the thing down at the bottom of the Discord. The
Oh
speaker.
shit.
Yeah, that's all right.
Did you? What was your biggest takeaway on the prelims, LazyBed? If you remember.
Yeah, well, let me think about it because it was like fucking 5 a.m.
Yeah, I like to pull up the fight card on Google and kind of like give myself a little, and keep the window open while I'm talking. Give me a little.
Yeah, that would be a smart idea for me to do right now. I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to go solo at 3, and it was a fucking shit show. Like solo podcasters, man.
I wasn't sure.
Well, I
if we were
mean,
just gonna...
you didn't have like the Craig bot wasn't working. What was the
Yeah.
deal?
No, I just didn't have permissions for it, and then I guess you have to start recording Craigbot, not in the voice chat, but like in the Pod People chat.
Oh,
Like if you look in the Pod People chat, that's where like I hit join, and
just so it registers.
yeah,
Okay,
and
no
so
worries.
yeah, it seems to be working.
Cool.
Yeah, well, while LazyBed's looking, I thought JJ Aldridge had a pretty good performance too. Like Liang Na. She looked pretty physical and stuff, and I've always kind of sold JJ short, but man, she went in there and did the damn thing in round 2.
Isn't she Rose's teammate?
I don't know.
I mean, that'd be a big win for them, but at the same time, it's just like it's a bottom of the barrel at light flyweight, which is not saying much, but a win's a win. She looked good. Wish she could do that more often against the upper echelon, but that division's stacked now, so needs to get like a couple more. She doesn't even need to get names realistically. She just needs to get wins.
Oh yeah, she's another Denver fighter. She is teammates with Rose. I don't know if I'm kind of a piece of shit. I just assumed she was British. Figured she trained over there or something. But
Danger.
I'm a terrible
Dangerous
person, I
kid.
know. But she's really pale. That's kind of weird for Colorado to be that pale.
She's that special type of pale, I guess.
Yeah.
An extra shade of pale, as they say.
Anyone have a fighter of the card? Like anyone?
If you're gonna ask me, it was I would have said not Giga, but I would have said although she didn't have the greatest fight, she looked like she struggled. Oh God, I forget her name. But Erin Blanchfield.
She's your fighter of the card?
Honestly, as bad as the performance was, I think it was against the right person, which showed that she was still needing to work on a couple of things. But if you looked at Santos didn't look like she improved. She looked like she was more ready just to fight, which is fine. I mean, she basically nullified a lot of what Santos was able to do, even though it was an ugly decision. She did what she needed to do to win. I would say she's the fighter of the card, for me at least.
I think we need to stop rewarding decisions to wall install fighters. Like I thought we were over the wall install.
Just because one person ruins it for everybody. I don't think that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, who's yours, Dave?
My fighter of the card would probably be it would be Junior Tafa.
Interesting.
What was that?
Interesting.
Yeah, I like the Tafa brothers. I think they're great. I don't like Parker Porter. I don't know what he's doing in the UFC, let alone on the main card.
That's their matchmaking model. Heavyweights go on main cards or co-mains and mains. That's bigger people get to headline, even if they're not very good.
Yeah, but like he's really terrible. Like
Oh my god.
Parker Porter. Like let's look at his record real quick. I mean,
Oh Jesus.
14-9. That's like
Didn't he face John Jones at one time?
Yes.
yeah.
I thought
He has
that's
to
like his
beat
claim.
some dude named. Man, I don't know. He's terrible.
I agree, but he's not nearly as bad. Well, Dawkins did beat him, so I guess that says all that it needs to said.
And I would
I mean,
say to circle the wagons back, my prelim fighter of the card was Waldo Cortez Acosta. That was a
Oh, you know
vicious.
what? You were right. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, that was not only was it comical, but it was also fun to watch. Yeah, that was a great moment for me. And then as far as fighter of the card overall, I gotta go Max. How do you not go Max?
Against TKZ though, in his retirement fight.
Yeah, but all the circumstances surrounding it with Hawaii, TKZ, his retirement looming, the build up, it was just the emotion of the crowd. Everything was perfect. It was such a great fight. And then to prove the naysayers wrong who said he had pillow hands, even though TKZ walked into it. But still, just for me, Max, that's my guy. I got to go Max.
That's fair. That's fair. Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest story that came out of this was like,
Yeah.
everyone was there for Max just because of what was going on in Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah.
the press conferences, it was looking like it was this. I was kind of questioning his mentality coming into it, whether or not he was coming in with a lot more heavier ambitions just to kind of
Yeah.
represent Hawaii. But God damn it, man, because Korean Zombie came out and fought. Like he came out to bang, and sure
Oh,
enough,
yeah.
like he put out a show, regardless of how he ended it.
Especially that third round.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
like he
that third
came to
round,
fight.
he was.
He came to fight.
Yeah.
Well, like here's why Max isn't my fighter of the card. Is because he went in there like expecting to win. Like, I think 90% of fans expected him to win.
Yeah,
They
true.
expected him to stop him. Like I don't think people thought. I mean,
I would say it's probably
Zombie's
closer
not
to
really.
95, 99.
And you know what? I did pick Tafa as my fighter of the card, and I really hope that he's got more cousins and family to come in and send Parker Porter to the land of winning ghosts.
What did
But
Parker do to you?
he's just not good. Like he shouldn't be there. It's like
I feel
if
like
Luke
there's other
Thomas went
people
and
who
fought
aren't good.
MMA, that's Parker Porter. Like if Luke Thomas did no more training than he has now, and he went and fought MMA, that's like Parker Porter, but
Oh, I'd give Luke at least a little bit of a chance.
Well, I'm just saying,
agree.
like Luke Thomas would not be a good MMA fighter, and that's like the equivalent tier that I would put Parker Porter in.
Oh my god.
But no,
Parker
so
Porter
I want to go
Snicker.
back and change my fighter of the card actually to Korean Zombie because he
Wow.
lost, but he had his moment at the end of the fight. It wasn't as good as like a Robbie Lawler retirement, but it was a pretty good moment, pretty classy.
Yeah,
He went in there and did the damn thing. His chin is nowhere near what it used to be, but he got knocked down. He got back up. He went to war. And I was just, even in the loss, I was impressed with his blood and guts, his heart. He has that Modelo fighting spirit.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's my fighter of the card for sure.
Okay, so here's a question though. At first I'll admit that the Max selection by me was low hanging fruit, so I see why you guys didn't want to pick him as your fighter of the card. But to circle back to the TKZ thing, do you think that because they do that highlight sizzle reel after he had left the cage, I think he was doing his walkout, like going back to the back. Should they have, even after a loss, ran that package while he was still in the cage, like they did Robbie Lawler after his win?
I think so. I'd absolutely 100%. I think they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one thing if he had been like as a split decision loss, or if he had gotten the decision, or even like a win, like just a period. If it was close and competitive, and Korean Zombie or at least had an opportunity to win and was able to win. Okay, yeah, you run the package while he's in there, so you can interview him after the win. He got knocked out. You let him kind of do his thing. It wasn't a vicious like, oh my god, he was dead. Like we had to wait 5 minutes for him to wake up. But like let him do his thing, and then you run the package. So because it still plays for everybody who's watching on TV and people who are inside the arena. So I think it still accomplishes the same thing. Plus, I don't think we would have seen that emotion regardless. Well, what, Dave?
No, because I mean, even if you hate the song, it was one of the best walkouts that I've seen in a long time. Like the whole crowd was singing all that. He had his huge moment. They put him on the mic, let him go in there, put your arm around him, and watch with him. Like I forget who was doing if it's Bisbing or whoever. Put your arm around, watch the thing with him in the cage, shake his hand, say thank you for everything you've done, and then walk out to the crowd cheering. I mean, it's a lot.
No, I agree. I think it's just because he got knocked out. That's my whole thing. It's like you give him that minute.
Did Bisping interview him after he got knocked out? Like, did they do an in-cage interview post-fight? I can't remember.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It was just they gave him a minute, kind of they gave Max
they talked to Max first, right?
Yeah, they talked to Max first, and then after everybody talked to Max, I think they gave him the opportunity.
Typically, I know the protocol is they don't usually do a post-fight interview in cage with guys who just got knocked out. But if you're going to do it if you did it anyway, you might as well run the package with them in the cage because you're already fucking interviewing them.
And also about that, like they said they weren't going to do that anymore, but they kind of walked back on that real quick.
Yeah,
Almost every champion that's been finished has still had a chance to talk.
Yeah.
They stopped it after the DC one, after John Jones lit DC's head up with that kick.
Wait, who's this? Who's this?
Danger. Danger just joined, yeah.
When did Paddington Bear get here? What the fuck?
It's Peruvian. You should be happy.
Oh, shit.
So, Danger, what we're talking about right now is who is your fighter of the card? I think I forget who the people went with. I'm really high. LazyBed went with Max. I went with Papa, but then kind of changed it to Korean Zombie. No Special went with Blanchfield. Do you have a fighter that stood out on the card to you or anything like that?
I'm just going to look at the card now.
Yeah.
Preliminary, main card, or both. I went both. My prelim guy was Cortez Acosta. That was the most comical moment of the fucking night.
I missed that fight.
Yeah, true.
Like that was funny like that.
Oh god,
it was the ridiculousness of the knockout, pretty much, right?
Yeah, well, it was reminiscent of the Norma Dumont. Who was she fighting? When she ran,
the girl ran away, Norma was charging at it.
Except this dude was on fucking stinky legs and he was waddling away. It was great.
Yeah, he was on stilts, literally walking across the cage.
And he fucking face planted.
That one looked like he nearly could have broken his spine, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
was it a scorpion or just a face plant?
No, he fell at an angle where his head hit first, but his body and his neck were at a literal 90-degree angle.
Oh, it's terrible.
Questionable.
For the main card, I might even go for Anthony Smith because I didn't expect him to win. He just gutted his way through it, even with a broken orbital, I believe he's got from that in the second round. So just because I expected him to lose, he might be my fighter of the night, kind of thing. But obviously, Max, just a class of his own.
Yeah.
That sure was a real touchy performance by Anthony Smith. He got fucked up in round 2.
He was.
I'll pick another one that I lost on Armfield. He impressed me very much.
Yeah, who's seen that coming?
What impressed you about that?
He dropped down from featherweight, correct? This was at bantamweight, right?
Yeah, it was bantamweight fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he had that fight with oh my gosh, I forget the name of the fighter that he was brought in last minute to fight. Oh, he had the fight of the night with the Southern guy. Oh, god damn it!
Let's see if I can
Southern guy.
We talking
The
on
train, Nate the Train. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Nate
Wrote it down.
Landwehr?
Yeah, he fought Nate Landwehr with I forget. Oh god, I'm butchering this right now, but basically Armfield was brought in as kind of like a last minute replacement, I think, because they needed an opponent for that gentleman, and he kind of gave him a run for his money, but got finished. Got beat, I think, again at featherweight, and then now this is his. It looks like he looks like he belongs at bantamweight, more or less.
Was he the guy that was brought in from Dana White's Contender Series because his fight fell out in that?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
all great to him, grabbed it by the horns and took it home with himself. Great fucking.
yeah. I mean, he looked like he looked good. I mean, I don't think his opponent was up to scratch, but I mean, he looked good.
Yeah. Very tough again. Yeah.
Anybody have anything? Any other takeaways from the card?
Who's Zombie got?
Not really. I mean, I don't know if I went in enough on Blanchfield because I mean I think I could talk about how terrible that was, and
Oh
we
my
shouldn't
god,
be
she's
giving.
not Holly Holm.
That was a Holly Holm performance. Like she just held her against the cage, and like nothing was significant. Impact wins fights.
I
It was
agreed.
like she panicked.
Who took
like
away
she
the
didn't know what to
impact?
do. And she panicked
Who
and
took
held
a-
her against the cage.
Well, if that's not Santos's responsibility to like.
No, that's the
Like-
wrestler who separated them.
Yeah,
but are they still not judging fights on if it's primarily striking and if it's primarily grappling? I know it wasn't on the ground grappling, but it was still very much a standing grappling fight. You know, just pushing Santos back into the cage. And I don't think I don't think there's any doubt that Erin Blanchfield won those rounds.
No, agreed. It was again. I think the sad part is that I don't think Blanchfield, like, this was the fight I was hoping to see more out of it, but I was hoping that Santos also showed up and gave her a tough fight. I think this is pretty much like the Merab Dvalishvili Aldo fight, or when Aldo also faced Volk. Like, I think it's the win you need just to solidify your spot as a top or number one contender in the division. Because Santos, everybody assumed that, she was just going to, come back, and I don't know if she was going to be 100%, but she was going to give, Blanchfield a run for her money regardless, because she had arguably won the fight against Valentina, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like she came in and actually tried against a very difficult opponent, and if it wasn't her, I mean, she was probably going to be fighting Valentina next anyways, if Valentina had not lost. So,
Yeah, I guess I had a couple things from this card before we moved on. One thing I want to say is I'm pretty impressed with the quality of fighters that we get from this Road to the UFC card out of Asia. It looks like we might be getting some real talent out of that program. There's no way I'm gonna wake up and watch it at 4 a.m.
Great show, never seen it.
Yeah. Then I was kind of curious if anybody had thoughts on Giga Chikadze. Like, is he back? Do we expect him to be like ever in the top 6? Like,
on that performance,
any thoughts on him?
You got to take into consideration. You got to take into consideration his time out of the cage. I don't care what Dominic Cruz says. Ring rust is a real thing, and he spent a significant amount of time not fighting, and then to get in there with somebody like Caceres, who's a really unorthodox type of striker, somebody that doesn't do things in a conventional way, you can't expect to see the type of dynamic Giga that we were seeing before this soon. I'd say if his next fight looks similar to this one, no. If he gets back to his old form, it's a good possibility.
Well, speaking on the next featherweight fights, what's next for Max Holloway? Does he go to 145 and maybe face Aljo at 145? Because Giga wouldn't last against Max, I don't think. Certainly not judging on that performance. Max would just be freestyling on him for the entire fight.
Well, then you're also killing a contender too if you're putting him up against Max.
Well, the UFC loves doing that for some reason.
I know, but I think they realized with Arnold Allen, like we probably shouldn't do this again because
Yeah.
Arnold had momentum.
Yeah,
So
that one really messed up.
Well, like
for him.
every Marab fight lately, it's like, what are they doing?
well, that was on purpose because Marab was supposed to be the guy coming up, and then on top of it, you also had questions of whether or not Cejudo was going to come back, which he ended up coming back, and then losing a split decision, ugly split decision, but still. Then you also had O'Malley, who was pretty much the number one contender, who wasn't fighting until he got the this whatever Cejudo situation taken care of, and then he ends up beating Aljo anyways. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for DangerMouse's question, the only things I'd like to see next for Max is either Aljo moves up to 145 and fights him, and
Yeah.
if he beats Aljo, even though it's fucking stupid, it's like saying thanks for staying in the division. You get to fight Volkanovski and get your ass kicked again, or like either Aljo or he goes up to 155 and quits fucking around because there's really nothing for him at 145.
I don't think
Not
there's
while
any
Volk's there.
155 though either. I don't think Max has got the build to live with those fucking monsters that are in lightweight.
He was
He
competitive with
could have a
Dustin in
belt,
that.
though. I think he could just eat and work out and like.
I believe
I mean, those
wasn't
lions
it?
are big dudes.
I believe JK was saying that he should take some time off and bulk up, sort of like Poirier did when he moved to 155, and or maybe take some tuner fights at 155 as he bulks up.
Yeah, like someone
Agreed.
said Dan Hooker, and that was like a fun fight.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but-
did that. I said that.
Yeah, UFC
Yeah.
doesn't give tune-up fights. That's a problem.
That'd be the closest thing to a tune-up fight that he gets at 55.
They're just going to throw him in there. He's 31. He'll be 32 in December. Is that a good time to be moving up to lightweight at 32 and trying to pack some weight on?
Well,
Probably
if he
better
doesn't
than
fight
staying at 145. I think
Agreed,
anything's
yeah.
better than fighting bulk. Like,
Yeah, but Volk's quite possibly going to move up to lightweight.
55 himself, yeah.
yeah, if bulk moves
So
up, then fuck it.
If Volk
Stick
moves
around.
up, it's Max's division, and at least for the moment. If Volk
Yeah.
quits.
Well, so the question is whether or not is Volk next going up and defending against Ilia Topuria, or is he fighting at his next fight at lightweight? I'm pretty sure he's going to be defending it against Ilia.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
it's like after the Ilya fight, it's like he's cleaned out the division. It's like there's no point. Go to
But that's what
155
I'm
and
saying.
chase greatness. I think.
Does he want to leave now or wait?
I think if he fights one more, like if the people really, I don't really care, but if the people really want Ilya, then you make that fight, and then if he wins, goes on to 155 and does great things there, hopefully.
Does he move on, win or lose?
Not Algio style.
I mean, considering he has cleaned out the division, what's he do? Hang around and try to regain his belt back in the same division where he's beat everybody already?
You talking about Max?
No,
No,
Volk. 'Cause,
Okay.
I think that's why the rumor for the longest time has been, Volk maybe has one more in featherweight, and then he's moving up. So even if he loses the belt, what's the sense in sticking around and trying to regain it? You've been there, done that, cleaned out the division.
Yeah, I think ideally he'd want to leave the division on top and then go up to lightweight.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get a title shot immediately if he'll probably have to face someone like Chandler or like Benny if he does lose, which is not saying a whole lot because it's still a Shark Tank of a division, but still. If he wins, he gets an immediate title shot, which is what everybody wants since that fight that they had in early this year.
Yeah.
Right. So it is me. If I'm kind of matchmaker for the day, I'm looking at Volk defending against Ilya, kind of like how we're all thinking, and then going up and challenging for the lightweight title. If he wins. If he loses, then you're just giving him a top 5 fighter to make it on his way in anyways. Because the UFC is willing to kind of bend for former champions that they like. Aljo's the exception. And
Yeah.
then if you're looking at Max, you're basically, if you're in Max's camp, you're waiting to see what happens with Volk, pretty much.
Yeah.
If Volk moves up, perfect. Then you just take the first opportunity at a title. What do you get? Well, nobody's going to hate that. Matter of fact, the 90% of the fans are going to want him to be champion anyways. So,
Well, I mean, what's likely to happen, and what's likely to happen is if Volk wins against Topuria, supposing that's his next fight, and moves up, he's going to have to vacate. So you're going to have a vacant featherweight title. Who's likely to step into that role to fight for that belt? It's probably going to be Max against somebody.
Agreed.
So if you're Max and you're hanging around just waiting for Volk to leave, you know, you're basically waiting on your opportunity to fight potentially for a vacant belt.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, Max is rich. He's got a lot of stuff going on in Hawaii. Like, he's living his best life there. He doesn't need to be fighting all the time. Why not just kind of see how the Volk situation plays out and go from there?
Yeah, are there any other legacy fights he could kind of pick off? Any other?
Honestly, Edson
Barboza, has he not fought him?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
Oh, God damn it. I'm looking.
I don't even have to look at his Wikipedia or his
you motherfucker.
100%. Yep. Like, they're gonna need him to fight one more time anyways, because Max is the kind of fighter
He's only fought a little bit at 145, and he didn't get the title shot. So yeah, they didn't fight.
In which case, you could just put Mozart Evloev and Arnold Allen against each other, and then that'd be the title eliminator. Winner of those fights for the title.
Yeah. Evloev would be Evloev against Max for a vacant featherweight title would be something.
It'd be pretty good.
Right.
It'd be pretty good scrap.
So is Volk the type of fighter that if he loses, does he need the rematch to get that win back, like against Ilya? Like, I'm not sure Volk's that type of person. Like, I think he accepts his L's pretty well and might just be like, I lost tonight.
Except against Islam.
Yeah.
The same thing, yeah.
Well, this is all assuming too. I mean, granted, yeah. Go ahead, Danger.
I was just saying Max and Edson would be a fun fight. And Edson can't have that many fights left in him, despite the fact he still looks like he's chiseled out of a piece of teak. He's 37 now, 38 next year.
I don't know if Max fights a number 14, you know, at this point in his career, just for legacy.
What was Zombie?
What was Korean? Yeah.
I don't know what Zombie was.
He was 8.
Was he 8? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Max was willing to go down for him.
Looking for legacy fights or just like fun fights, and it's like, fuck it.
But if you're right there at the precipice of a potential another title shot, if something happens to Volk, why do you jeopardize that just for a fight?
Because Volk gets the immediate rematch if he chooses. Well, I was going to say, if he chooses to stay because of whatever happens with Ilya, let's say Ilya manages to get the upset, Volk is going to want to get that rematch back. Stay the champion, regain the title, and then retire from 45 to move up. He'd rather do that.
Yeah.
Then, that delays his Max's ability to get back into the title anyways, because he already got 3 losses to the guy who's champion.
Right. So he's basically, Max is taking a gamble either way, whether he takes a fight in the meantime or just waits.
Absolutely.
What, Max versus Bryce Mitchell?
Mm-hmm. No. No.
You don't want that?
I can't. No. I can't. No, not. No.
I like it, but it's like, what if Max loses? Like, Bryce can do something stupid and win that fight somehow.
I don't
think
get it. Fine.
I think that's kind of what I was saying about the Edson fight, because as fun as that would be, I mean, Edson's the kind of striker where he any given night he could knock anybody out in that division.
Usually
granted,
loses to better strikers though. I mean, look what him and Giga did, right?
All right, I got to figure it out. Here's what you do with Max. He waits for the Volk situation to play out. You bring back Nate Diaz. You look at it 170. Fuck it. Nate Diaz, Max Holloway, 170. Max has got a good chance of winning that fight. And it's a legacy fight. It's a headliner. It's a pay-per-view headliner. And
why the hell are you trying to jack Max up to 170 pounds?
well, he walks around close to that, so he can just walk in there and fight Nate Diaz.
Yeah,
Why not just make it at 65?
I mean,
Because UFC doesn't do 65. That's like a curse word.
I mean, you're not wrong, but still, I think that. Yeah.
Make it wherever way.
Or whatever weight. Whatever the weight we fight at.
Yeah.
Open weight challenge.
Right, so, yeah. So you're just matching him up with Nate Diaz if he comes back.
Yeah.
I think Nate's only going to come back to the UFC for a fight with Conor. And that
Agreed.
big pay.
You know what? That's what you do. You wait, and then you put him in a pay-per-view headliner non-title event with Conor.
You know, Conor's been saying he wants 3 fights a year. Let's fucking call him out on it. Let's give him 3 fights
If
a year.
he could get back into the USADA pool, maybe, but he can't even do that.
Don't worry about that. They've got waivers for that shit. Y'all tripping.
Obviously, they're keeping him out of the pool.
Don't worry about it, dude. There's waivers, dude. It's fine.
You say this.
It's fine.
You say this. The last time they did that, Mark Hunt took them to court for it.
Yeah, and he's getting sued for he has to pay their legal expenses.
Well, not if the lawsuit that's currently in class action goes through, which it actually, now they got certified, so 1,200 fighters could get $1.5 billion in damages, and in this in the United States, that's triple. So they could be paying over $3 billion in damages if the lawsuit is in their favor.
Are you guys familiar with that at all?
The lawsuit?
Yeah.
I mean,
depends
what you mean by familiar.
Well, I heard after the last news that came out, they said that someone had wanted to combine the 2 class action lawsuits, like the second one that involved the more current fighters too. And I didn't know if it was the judge that wanted to do that, or if the UFC was the one that wanted to combine the 2 lawsuits to try to shenanigan more.
I'm not familiar. I couldn't say.
No, I think what it is they essentially the UFC is basically saying we're okay with either, because if we win, that both lawsuits are pretty much null and void. They lost the identity one, which is their rights to their identity, which is why we see them on video games and posters and shit, like promotional material. So they lost that, which included Nate Diaz and I think one other fighter. But the time period I think is from 2010 to 2017, and then the one that has Cajun Johnson and CB Dalloway is after that. So essentially, whatever happens with this lawsuit is going to include their result. So I guess the other thing was that they were waiting on a Tunefish case, which essentially was the workers that were pretty much responsible for packaging everything together. I guess they were waiting for that to pretty much push through, plus COVID. So it's been sitting for almost 10 years. So yeah, just one of those things. It won't get solved for another 3.
Yeah, I was just curious because there's 2 lawsuits. There's one that involves current fighters also. That might be John Fitch or someone. I forget Raging Cajun Johnson or John Johnson, maybe. But there's a second class action lawsuit. And someone mentioned actually merging them into one lawsuit. And I didn't know if that was the judge or...
No, because they had missed that date when it was filed, and theirs came after. I think the UFC was more willing to take them on as is, but then it would only be one class action so that there wouldn't be a follow-up. I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Real quick, before we move on from the card, was there anything else anybody wanted to say about it?
I got something. Singapore, kind of weird. UFC to be sort of establishing a stronghold there with so much of one championship having their stuff go on there. But I think we're going to see a lot more events in Singapore from UFC because they've now got to deal with the Singapore Board of Tourism.
Really?
So,
Interesting.
so I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a possible recurring theme.
Well, I
with the
can't blame the guy. You see Chatri's success, and everything Chatri does has been like gold. So of course, UFC is going to want to get on some of that sweet bot. But
a little bit of that
What are they
sweet
getting
bot.
from there? As far as like their site fees, because I know the UFC only reason why they leave the Apex for is for the site fees that they get. I mean, what was it? Dallas, I think, was giving them like a $3 million or something.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
guess.
I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate, but I'm gonna guess it's sizable. Because
That's the
I'm
same reason why they
almost
haven't
certain
been
this
to
is
Hawaii either.
didn't they go there last year also?
Yeah,
Yes, that was with Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk as the co-main event, and then they had Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka. That's the man.
yeah. I
So
think they've been going there since they started that Road to the UFC show. That's like
Right.
all Asia fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really trying to get a market share in that part of the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Singapore government's like mad at one in Chatri. And the Muay Thai Federation suing him. It's kind of interesting. UFC might be getting a footprint there.
You know anything about Dana and the UFC brass? They see an opportunity, they're going to jump on it.
Shit, kill the competition. You're not
All right.
buying them, you need to kill them.
So looking forward, we've got Gon versus Spivak.
One thing, if it's okay, before we move forward, I just want to ask if anyone saw the Usyk fight over the weekend.
Yes.
Saw the highlights.
Did you see the alleged groin strike that dropped him for 4 minutes?
That would look like a groin strike to me from the backside. I didn't get the ultimate angle.
Well, I mean, we're all men here, okay? It hit the top of the belt line. Like if it grazed the cup, it was like in the dick area. Like dick punches aren't that bad. It's the balls that are like.
But they're boxers, so it's different.
But yeah, what I'm saying is it hit him on the belt line, and if anything, it caught the tip of his penis, but probably not. I mean, it was actually on the belt line. Like the commentators called it right. They said that was on the belt line, like in the bladder area, and it dropped him.
But it is Usyk, so they're willing to look a little bit the other way just to kind of see if he could get up. He's more of a money guy than what was the other gentleman's name? Boudet?
I have no idea.
Bardo?
That was pretty much when I tuned into the fight, and I was like, because I was laughing. I said, "Is this MMA that I'm watching here, or what with all the nut punches?"
Well, you want to talk?
Oh, that was last night. That was boxing last night, man. There was like a fight stopped by dick punches.
Yeah, I saw that in the Discord, but I was just speaking about the Usyk fight. So that's the first time I've ever seen him fight. So then I walked in and he's laying on the floor holding his stomach, because as far as I'm concerned, he got punched in the stomach. That was not a nut shot. The referee let him sit there and recover, and then he got him up and went, "Are you sure? Would you like another minute?" And he's like, "No, I want to fight." He said, "No, you have another minute. Just calm down there."
That was the real takeaway for me. Was the ref? The ref was like encouraging him to take more time. Take more time. That's not a very impartial referee.
Nope.
That seems like somebody with a vested interest.
Where was this at?
Poland.
See, yeah, no, that makes more sense.
Probably just wants to get out of the arena alive. Then.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not saying like the other guy was not the better boxer, but I mean like that shit knocked him down, and he might have got up within the time frame. Had the ref immediately like figured it was a groin strike, and I feel he was robbed of a knockdown and potentially a victory, but most likely just a knockdown. But that shit's kind of fucked up.
Well, he was losing the fight altogether, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
but his body
that was
shots
going to
were
be
affecting Usyk, and that shit fucking like dropped him. That was a legit punch. Like I hate to like be Captain V, but like you can put that shit on my grave. That shit was fucking clean on the belt line in the bladder.
Well, as Frank Warren said, if that was a foul punch, why didn't the ref take a point?
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah, because that was
That's
like
actually questionable.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how strict they are on stuff like that in boxing because I don't really watch it these days. But
yeah. So
it's a clear foul. It's a clear point deduction, is it not? They don't mess about in boxing. When you get knocked down, they take a point.
yeah,
No,
especially
most-
one that causes big damage. Like they don't fuck around with that shit.
No, most of the time they're going to give like a stern warning at the beginning of the fight, and then they usually just kind of like, unless you're the fighter who is the A side in boxing, they're gonna, be more stringent against you most of the time. So I'm imagining it was just like they basically gave Usyk every opportunity, and because it wasn't like an egregious thing consistently, like, where he was constantly doing low blows or constantly doing dirty boxing tactics, I doubt they were going to give him a point unless Usyk manages to, complain a little bit more, which I doubt. So, I mean, I don't think it mattered.
It could have been a stoppage, but
You're not wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot of aspects to consider.
yeah. So just like also one last thing before we move on to the preview of the upcoming card. If y'all didn't watch boxing last night on ESPN, there was a fight that was like had more groin strikes than I'd ever seen in my entire life. It was stopped by groin strikes. It was just amazing.
5
Yeah,
in 1 round.
I really hope to see it on Have You Seen This Shit? I can't think of the name, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the description. But
oh, perfect.
Yeah, there was a minimum 5 nut shots in 1 round.
It was unlike anything I've ever seen, except well, I mean, it was like those dick punches back in the MMA days, but like harder and not so rapid fire.
And then in the following round, the fighter who committed the 5 previous dick punches punched him in the dick again and got DQ'd.
Yeah, lost a belt.
DQ
Like that was a title fight.
Yeah, lost a belt over a dick punch.
What did crack me up was the guy who was commentating the fight in the Usyk fight, and then talking about being punched in the groin, by a 210-pound man or whatever weight they were in at, and then saying it with 10-ounce gloves on. And I'm just sat there thinking, have you never seen MMA with people getting kneed or shin kicked or punched in the groin with 4-ounce gloves? Just shut up.
Oh God. See, I hate that. It's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, have you never had another man kick you in the nuts before? Seriously.
Anyone who's done any kind of sport has been kicked in the nuts at some point.
Dude.
Have you all been kicked in the nuts hard? Like,
yeah, Dave.
Taking a few definitely here and there.
Yeah, dude, like my shit swole up for 2 weeks and I couldn't find my balls and everything was painful.
The best one I ever saw was a martial arts thing doing defense against 3 or more attackers, and we had some young guy in there. It was a brown belt, but he was only about 11 or 12. And obviously, when someone comes in and attacks you and grabs hold of you, you're supposed to do the like as if you're kneeing them in the groin, and then they're supposed to back off, kind of thing, because you're not hitting with full contact. And a mate of mine was grappling, didn't notice the kid throwing the kick to the groin, so ignored it. So the young lad brought his knee up, and I've never seen someone hit the fetal position in midair before. This 6-foot guy just hit the ground in a ball.
Oh God!
Dropped by an 11-year-old.
Stranger danger.
That's my purse. I don't know you, man. Right in the nuts. That kid's smart. That's a King of the Hill reference, Danger. I don't know if you've seen that show over in the.
No, I don't know that one. One
some
other thing
cartoon.
before you jump on wherever you're going, that's the first time I've seen Usyk box. I was not impressed at all. I would think that Fury would destroy him. From what I
man.
saw. I don't see why people are saying that Fury's scared of him. I think he'd massacre him.
You wanted to just fight him. Just fight the man. Stop acting like
Because-
you don't.
He doesn't care. Like, I mean, he retired once. Tyson Fury retired before. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't
Exactly.
have
Yeah,
anything to prove.
But like, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. You might as well fight the guy who's the only other successor to the throne.
No.
Okay, all right, never mind. That's why I hate boxing.
No. I'm like a boxing casual. Like, my takes don't count. But, like, I don't care. Like, have him fight Francis and then rematch in MMA. Like, I don't give a fuck about the Usyk fight. Like, I think
No, that's
Francis.
fair.
I think Tyson Fury like destroys him. He's like a foot taller than him and a better boxer. Like,
Oh, Francis got a shout out on the air last night after the Usyk fight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, they wrote him off though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But any publicity is good publicity, right?
That's true.
Well, in the interest of time, should we move forward?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The upcoming Gone versus Spivak card.
Okay, my question, crew, real quick before we get started. Wasn't it supposed to be the Russian kid, the one that was knocking everybody out in the first round in the first 2-3 minutes?
Hamza?
No, the
Pavlovich?
other one. Thank you, Pavlovich. Yes, Sergey Pavlovich. Yes.
He's still there. Has he got a fight?
No, it's Sergey Spivak who's fighting.
Yeah. I originally saw the lineup and it said like when it first like said Gon was fighting somebody again. It was supposed to be Spivak or not Spivak but Pavlovich. If I'm
Was
not
it?
mistaken, I swear to God. Look,
Might be having a little bit of a
topology.
Mandela effect there.
It can't be Gan versus Pavlovich. Pavlovich is number one contender, and Gan
I
just got
swear.
Gan just got
Look
murdered.
at the lineup
Title
from
shot.
well, Tapology may have that because usually they have like canceled bouts or something like that.
I'm currently looking at Wikipedia, and it says is expected to be headlined by a heavyweight bout between former interim UFC heavyweight champion Cyril Gane and Sergey Spivak.
I'm looking here at Google. It shows them calling him out for September, but
So I can't see how they can give Gan to Pavlovich or vice
here's
versa.
one on tap. Bout canceled to a Pavlovich injury. I guess it was booked. Man, you're so smart.
Huh?
Oh wow!
No, I swear. That's why I just like that Mandela effect thing you said. I was like, yo, please let me be right on this one.
Yeah, I'll throw up the picture.
Does
in the
Pavlovich
chat
just
if
get
y'all-
injured?
So it was booked. What were you gonna say, Danger?
I was going to say, does Pavlovich get injured a lot because he was supposed to fight Aspinall twice and he backed out of those? Now apparently he didn't want to fight Gan for an injury.
He might just be angling for the title fight. Like he might just be like, I'll wait, and I'm the number one contender, so fuck it.
Because I wouldn't want to fight.
The Aspinall fight. The Aspinall
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to fight Aspinall if I'm Pavlovich either, because Aspinall's A, athletic, B, powerful, and B, a good grappler, or C, a good grappler. He's all three of the things.
Yeah, but they were booked before Aspinall blew his knee out, I believe, and he never fought him anyway. He pulled out for injury.
Oh, was that when he was first like entering the UFC?
I don't exactly know. Like I said, I only know. I remember Tom Aspinall talking about it and saying he'd had 2 fights booked against him, and Pavlovich had dropped out of both. And Tom, to be fair, did say, "I don't think he's scared of me. It's just injury or whatever it is." But nonetheless, he still pulled out of 2 fights against Aspinall.
He was injured a lot in his early going after the his first introduction into the division for the UFC was horse meat.
Overeem.
Yeah,
he got
Overeem.
destroyed.
Thank you.
Overeem, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't get crushed
then
on
he
the
was
ground
injured.
or something.
Yep. Overeem immediately took him down to the ground and just beat the shit out of him. I think it was because he wasn't like ready for that fight, and then on top of it, he was also coming off of injuries and had sustained injuries during like after the fight, and then COVID hit. So he was just kind of like in limbo more or less. And then recently, I think he just started going on that run. So
How many fighters do you know on this list? And be honest.
okay, uno momento. Let's see.
I posted a picture of it in the chat.
Okay, I'm gonna say about a third of the fighters. Maybe
I know
even
like
less.
3 of them. Like I'm fairly confident. I know 3 of them, and that's it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say like we all know who Mana Inferior is, Rose Namajunas,
Oh,
you
on the
know, Survey
prelim.
Speedback's
On the,
real gun.
on the
Oh, on
prelim.
the prelims, no. I think I know maybe one.
Yeah, on the
Talking about
prelims.
prelims?
Talking about prelims?
I know.
understand.
Let's see. Farid Basharat, that's a familiar
Yeah.
name.
I
Clayton
think I know Reese
Rodriguez, his
McKee,
opponent.
but he doesn't look familiar.
Yeah.
I know the hair of Jocelyn Edwards, and like that's it.
I believe
Yes. Yes.
Reese McKee or Rice McKee, wasn't he? I want to say he was a PFL or Bellator guy at one point.
Bellator, I think.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Skeletor, good nickname.
Yeah, other than that, the prelims are, I think they're catering to the locals, you know.
No, he was Cage Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's the one who lost to Chimaev.
I was going to say, was it that's not him? He got murdered, didn't he? I don't think. Well, obviously, he didn't land a punch because hardly anyone did for those first 4
Yeah.
fights. Or whatever.
Yeah. And then he got Alex Morono and couldn't do anything to him.
Yep.
Morona was kind of sneaky good sometimes.
Yeah, he can be. Yeah, I would say that they're kind of catering to the locals with the prelims. It looks like a lot of maybe people with ties to that area.
I had a couple questions about the main card. This Volkan Ozdemir fight, he's fighting Bogdan Guskov. Is anyone familiar with Bogdan Guskov at all? Like, I can't see his picture or nothing like that. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of this guy.
No, not familiar.
Nope.
Oh, he looks like Anthony
Nothing.
Smith. That's Anthony Smith.
Oh, that's the Anthony
That was the
Smith
joke, right?
doppelganger.
No, that's actually Anthony Smith. I'm putting a picture.
That's the guy that he's literally like a doppelganger of him.
Yeah.
Russian Anthony Smith.
I don't even know what pictures you're looking at. So.
Well, I put it in the
Where have
chat.
you put them?
Like, in the
Very
chat
Lord
window.
of the Rings. Yeah, he looks a lot like a Lord of the Rings orc.
Okay.
Yeah, Russian Anthony
Yeah, like
Smith.
him and Anthony, like the orc and Anthony Smith had a baby.
Oh yeah, he does look. Yeah, he does indeed look like Anthony Smith. Slightly fatter face, not much though.
Okay, so
he doesn't
I
have
guess
to protect his family. Yeah, you're good. You're good now.
Yeah, that's good now.
Furo, the girl that's fighting Rose Namajunas, like I don't
Yes.
know anything about her. Like I've seen all her fights, and like I don't remember anything. Is she a striker? Is she a grappler? Is she good?
100%.
I'd be excited for her.
This is what I would say, Dave. If you're looking at her, she's literally the better version of Strike. No, I shouldn't say better. That's actually stupid. It should be she is the striking version of Holly Holm when she first came into the UFC. Take away the grappling, just defensive grappling adds pretty much it. She has no offensive grappling. She is literally a standard kickboxer. Doesn't have finishing power, but she has consistency.
And all right, so is she boring?
No, just not exciting.
She's
If-
like
if
Holly
she
Holm
does-
without the finishes. So
If
she like
somebody,
kicks there
if
a lot and
somebody,
says Kia and like gets position somehow.
if somebody's
She
willing to
does
go out
the-
and out grapple her, she's boring.
Yes.
But if she doesn't get out grappled, she can be entertaining. She does have a number of finishes.
In the UFC?
Mainly, not in UFC, but in her professional career, primarily TKOs, not much knockouts, no knockouts.
That's pretty standard for ladies MMA though.
Yeah.
Oh, she
has
beat Bueno Silva. That's a good win.
and she has a TKO over Baby Shark, Tabitha Ricci.
I like
Got
Baby Shark.
Beat Chikugian last time out.
That's a tough win to get. Like, she sucks,
Yeah.
but that's like if you beat Kagan, then you're kind of getting a title shot.
Well, that was the other thing, is that they were both pretty much the same blueprint, except one was slightly bigger and more experienced as far as being in the top echelon of the division. So it's like they're both strikers. They both kind of did the same thing, and except this one just happened to get the decision. And I thought it was close to begin with, but it's neither here nor there. I think if Rose loses to her, I don't know what that says about Rose's trajectory. Rose should roll over this woman with relative ease.
Now,
Okay, so you're
this is Rose's first fight in this division, correct?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sorry to interject there.
No, you're good.
So-
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's like
So
Rose should
Austin's picking
literally.
Rose.
Yeah, that's the question.
I'm kind of leaning Rose now that I hear about her. Like, I think Rose can grapple a bit and submit people and shit. Who are you guys
Well, am
picking?
I wrong? Am I wrong?
No.
Am I?
Oh, actually, I don't
'cause-
know. I don't remember shit about her.
No, I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. I mean, if she goes up against somebody with even mediocre to decent grappling skills, she's pretty much outmatched. That's not her world. She's a big girl though. She's athletic, she's strong. She can muscle out of positions, but technically, no.
Her record's fun as well because the only fight she's lost was the first one. She's not lost since.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Mm.
You all
So-
see that Rose Namajunas flying armbar video?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an OG Vitica callback.
Yeah, I think Bonfim's fighting on the prelims, though. That should be a fun fight. I think he normally brings it.
Who?
Yeah, he's looking like a decent
Bonfim?
lightweight.
Bonfim.
Yeah.
Open?
What, Gabriel Bonfim?
He's not listed here.
Maybe Ismail.
Yeah, I don't
Is it
see
not
him.
Israel?
Didn't he just fight?
Yeah, both. I think both of them fought recently.
Yeah, and I'm not
Oh, I'm
seeing
thinking
him.
of Basharat. I'm thinking of Farad Basharat.
Ah, okay, yeah.
It's not even the
Sorry.
same.
Fella.
This fucking beer I got's 9.9%. What the fuck do you want from me? Blame
sounds
fucking
like
Houston
excuses, Dave.
Beer 9.9%.
I'm 9.9% sure you're wrong.
Yeah,
Is Sandini the
That's
special
right.
ex-special forces guy?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, Benoit Sandini.
He's
I
coming off.
remember-
Thiago Moses should be a winnable fight for him.
Yeah, I remember him seeing his first fight, and he got murked, I think, in his first fight in the UFC. And I was very disappointed, obviously, because he had a special forces reputation. But I seem to remember he did great in his last fight, or maybe last two fights.
Yeah, it was Benoit Saint Denis was who beat Ismail Bonfim.
Ah,
He beat him via
face crank. A nasty face crank.
Yep.
That's because he dropped down from welterweight to lightweight, and now he's kind of picked up the grappling aspect. Correct?
Yeah. Now I would say
Think
this.
he's going places?
This might be a fast turnaround for Saint Denis. He just fought July 1st.
Ooh, shit.
That is.
Well, it is in Paris, correct? So that's like his
Yeah.
backyard. So okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
I think he's French Canadian, but
French Canadian, Canadian, French.
He
It's
is
all the
indeed
same.
from Bayonne, France.
Okay, cool. So
he's
he is.
French.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't be French
All right.
Canadian.
I mean, it should be a good fight. It's not like Thiago Moises usually gets run over unless you're like really good.
He's 27. You think he might be going places in the lightweight division?
You mean Benoit or Thiago?
Benoit. Benoit.
Maybe. I mean, if he wins this one, he'd be on a 3-5 win streak. It's good. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
I say give him Sarukian next.
No. What are you doing? No. Don't do
Well,
that. You
Sarukian's
can't.
a bomb, and I've been looking to prove it for the longest time.
All right, Dave's getting brave here.
What's that? No, he is a bum. Like, he's not good.
Oh my God, Dave.
Have you seen him fight? No,
I
wait.
did.
We might be talking about the wrong guy. I'm talking about Armen Sarukian.
I can't
He's
tell
got-
if you're just playing the heel right now, Dave.
No, he sucks. Like, I don't know if you like. He's got good
Oh my
strikes, but he
fucking
completely
God.
abandons them and starts like fucking grappling people and shit.
Oh
I
yes.
think, well, that fight was a one-time thing. I think that was the thing.
No,
It was
every
like,
fight, not that fight. Every fight.
all right, I don't know what the hell you're watching then, Dave, because I don't think that was the case
The
at all.
Demetrius Magula fight, the Matthews Gamrot fight, the Joel Alvarez fight. Like, he's
I
terrible.
just
Like,
don't think you like him. Similar to your hatred of Parker Porter.
well, Parker Porter sucks. Like, come on, you're not gonna sit here and say he's a good fighter.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what is
Yeah.
completely different from the other, Dave.
I mean, he's got like good kicks that he never uses. He throws like 3 a fight, and then he just fucks off and grapples. And
If you can't stop the takedown, that's not the winner's fault. That's the loser's fault.
he doesn't even get the takedown most of the time. And when he does, he just fucking like
Dave,
works
he
on different
does.
positions and doesn't strike.
Guys, defend Armen for me, please.
They can't. It's silence because they can't. No one can. That's like the worst.
He has a
You gotta
beautiful head of
speak-
hair. He's got a beautiful head of hair, nice beard.
He's got a nice beard. Yeah.
It is.
Danger, please help me on this.
You're talking to a casual here.
Oh my God. All right. Other than pair him up with Armen, I mean, he's a good lightweight. I mean, I would like to see him fight. If he gets this win, he beats Thiago Moises. I'm assuming he could probably move up to like just outside the top 15.
Yeah.
You say he's 27, right? 27 years of age.
Yeah. 27 years of age.
That's young for lightweight too.
Yeah, at 27, stringing together that kind of a record, he's got potential.
69 inches of height.
Nice.
73 inches of
Nice.
reach.
This is like
He might be going places.
Yeah. Well, he's 5'11" at lightweight, which is usually a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on before David decides to shit all over Armen again.
Well, he's terrible. I mean, it's so easy.
God, Dave.
It's like the Max Holloway. That's like the Max Holloway pick. It's low hanging fruit.
Just true. It's true. So, other than Vulcan, there's nobody else that anybody recognizes below that.
Almeida, that sounds familiar. I can't exactly put a face to it.
I know an Almeida, just not a Lucas Almeida.
Oh,
Sure.
he's terrible on the ground. That's what it is. Look at him. Look at his record. I think this man may have lost via submission his last fight. Yep. Pat Sabatini submitted the hell out of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's a pretty weak card. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, this is the UFC standard, right? Put a couple of names at the top and then fill it with contender series fighters or locals.
Yeah. The
Is
main event,
Spivak a takedown guy, or is he just like a
Yes.
striker mostly?
he is a takedown and lay the fuck on top of you guy.
Oh, so Gan might be in big trouble.
Oh, major.
Oh shit!
Sergey Spivak, known as the polar bear.
You picking Spivak?
Yeah.
Interesting.
After that last fucking fight against Jones, how can you pick Gone against any kind of a grappler?
I
one
am
France
going to take that
down.
chance. and I don't like it.
Well, maybe he'll catch him on the takedown with what, like a nice uppercut or knee, like
It's not. Well, here's my thing. I think
Mike's
I
have
don't
gone
even think it's
fit.
going to be so much that. I think it's literally going to be. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think Gon got embarrassed. So if I'm Gon, I'm going to work on my grappling enough to get by against majority of the division. You don't need to be a world level grappler. You just need to be able to defend a couple of takedowns and be able to counter, maybe shoot on yourself. He's big enough and athletic enough to figure out a couple things. He doesn't need to know everything. He just needs to actually work on it. I think he just got embarrassed because it was John. He made one mistake and then got submitted because of it. I mean, hell, this is the same guy who basically was out grappling Ngannou in their title fight and then decided to pull a heel hook while taking Gon down in the fifth. He had Gon pretty much on his butt, on his ass, in the championship fifth round, then decides to go to his back and then pull a fucking submission attempt on his, while he was winning the round, and then gave up the entirety of his position. I think he's just inexperienced on the ground. So
I
more
think that lost
confidence.
him the fight. Actually, that heel hook attempt. I think it lost
That's
him
what
the
I'm
fight.
saying. Yeah, he literally had the fight won because he took Gon down and then decided to pull the heel hook out of nowhere. And then, I think this is going to be a wake up. I think that John Jones fight was a wake up call for him. Like, oh, I can't just leisure my way into a title fight. I have to actually work at this.
What if he's still training with that dude in Africa or that dude in France, Fernand Lopez?
Yep.
Like, can he learn the right shit there? Can he practice the right shit there?
He just needs the bodies. You can get world class Olympians not close or not far away. You just got to bring them in.
Should come
That's a
to
good
Tom
point.
Aspinall's gym is where he should come.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
But
it's packed with heavyweights there apparently. I think there's about a dozen heavyweights training there. It might be the best heavyweight gym in the world right now.
yeah,
In England?
Gon reminds me of like a guy who's kind of leisurely there. Like he knows he's good, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah, he's coasting.
Well,
Yeah.
he said he didn't train before fights. I mean, I know he's probably lying, but because you can't possibly look that good at heavyweight and not do some training. But maybe he doesn't train as much as he should. Do you think he was scared of Jones when he stepped into the? Or did
100%.
Absolutely,
did
absolutely.
the moment get to him, or was he just scared?
Intimidated.
Yeah, he was scared walking in.
How could you not be? I mean, granted, yes, he took on Ngannou, who was, I would argue, a more intimidating dude because he brings knockout power. But Jones is tested and true. Like he didn't look intimidating. It's more of the fact that like, oh, I'm gonna be in a fight regardless. And I
Yeah.
know if I even give him any momentum or any positions, he's going to take advantage of it. You couldn't mess up. With Ngannou, you kind of had opportunities to kind of, okay, I got away with that. Jones doesn't
also,
get that. Yeah.
Like, Gon trained with Ngannou and sparred with him for like rounds and rounds and rounds. So they were already familiar with each other. So
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
I think that Gon's biggest Achilles heel is going to be his arrogance, and I think that showed its head in the Jones fight, because if you watched the lead up stuff, the UFC behind the scenes videos, he was super duper lax. He was in his training. He wasn't wrestling or grappling hardly at all. And when you have that kind of reliance and belief that you can just coast on your striking and your athleticism alone, it's not gonna work out in your favor. And I think that might end up being his undoing, is that he's so confident in his striking and in his abilities on the feet that he's not going to put that time and that energy and embrace the grind, as they say.
He's going to be in for a very good time then if he doesn't, because Tom Aspinall will destroy him on the ground. We know that much. Pavlovich, I believe Pavlovich is a fairly decent wrestler, or even though he has all the knockout power, as I understand it, he is fairly handy at wrestling too. I guess we'll see against Spivak.
This is going to be a great test of that.
If not, what does that do? Knock him down to what, number 7 or number 8 or something stupid in the ranking.
No, he'll still be top 10. I don't think he'll lose that. But
Yeah, I said 7 or 8. I didn't say
It kills all momentum. That's what it does. Like people
Any
kind of
heat
look
got left.
like he still has a little momentum. Like people just think he kind of shit the bed in the Jones fight, but people were still kind of wanting to get on him.
Well, he
but
looks
I
good
think
at getting off the bus still, right? He looks like that heavyweight you would see, kind of like Joshua, except Joshua's kind of like been too chinny and lackadaisical and is just not consistent in his performances. Gon can still be consistent in his performance. He hasn't taken that much damage. He's still young enough. I mean, hell, he has the ability to be good. Whether or not he chooses to be good is on him, correct?
Yeah.
And they clearly still have faith in him because they're sticking him in a main event in his home country after a title loss.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, it's in France. You kind of have to put him there. Even if he loses, he's still going to be a big draw in France.
Right. But this,
That's true.
this to schedule, your next fight is a main event in your fucking home country. They must still have some faith that he's gonna pull through.
Yeah, faith or
That's true.
hope, one or the other.
Yeah.
Please do
Little-
this.
little bit
Please
of
win.
Just being honest.
Yeah,
No,
I hate
that's
to be
true.
cliche, but I think this is a real sink or swim moment for him. Like,
Well, no, I think you're right. There's no other choice. He either improves on his grappling or he just kind of falls to the wayside.
yeah,
Yeah, because the Tom
So-
Aspinalls of the world are proving that this is a new age of heavyweight. This is you have to have grappling skills.
Sure.
Yeah. And movement helps as well.
Yeah. They're not
Mhm.
big lumbering sluggers anymore.
it helps if you want to win. You can still not have movement and be a shit heavyweight and headline UFC fight cards. You just won't be a champ.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to go ahead and slander Parker Porter again, I mean, I'm fine with it. That's fine. Just say it.
I'm sorry that your guy isn't very good.
Anything else? Any other takeaways from the card?
No, none for me. I mean, besides, I'm pretty stoked to see this Fred Bostrak kid fight. I think he's fun. He's undefeated. Just to read it. I'm gonna edit that out. Yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, the Palestinian, right?
Is he Palestinian?
I think he is.
Can't find his
Right.
Wikipedia.
Afghanistan. I'm sorry. He's from Afghanistan.
He's a scrapper though, and he's undefeated. I'm surprised he's opening up the card, but
And he
He
trains
should
out
be.
of Machine Couture.
with
Interesting.
Nixon?
Mhm.
Nice.
Little
What
interesting
are you gonna
side.
say?
There was supposed to be a Nasrat Haqparast and Sam Patterson fight take place, but Patterson was pulled due to health issues. And a replacement was found in the promotional newcomer Landon Quinones, set for the following week at UFC 293.
No. Damn
So
it.
Patterson
Card.
was. I was just recently talking to somebody on here on the Discord about Patterson because he was supposed to be a big prospect coming out of the UK. He was on John Gooden's radar and on a couple of podcast features and things, but he just recently lost. I'm pretty sure his last fight he lost pretty convincingly by knockout. So to be replaced last minute for health issues is not a good sign.
Well, you don't want to be going in like PJ Grant did. You know?
Yeah, I think he's a lumberjack in Canada now or some shit like that. He's done.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those concussion symptoms don't go away. There was a guy in baseball that was literally playing, I think, for two or 3 months with concussion symptoms after getting dinged in the head. So I mean, if you don't allow your body to get through that, without taking more damage, it becomes detrimental to your career.
Yeah.
As TJ Grant found out. But
Look at Chris Holdsworth. He fucking hit his head into TJ Dillashaw's knee, and he hasn't fought since. And that was in practice.
So true. God. Anything else from this card or no?
No, that's about all I got.
Yeah, it's
You guys want to talk about news?
I don't follow the news. You could try.
No, I mean like the whole McGregor Chandler saga.
Well, I think it happens in December. Like Dana recently said that, it wasn't going to happen this year, but I went all in on that Chandler tweet of the Christmas tree, and he seemed pretty happy about it. So I really think
Doubtful.
it's going to happen in December. Like, it probably won't make it in the podcast, but like, people are complaining about, him not being USADA pool or whatever, but there's waivers for all that shit. So I think, whatever the date he tweeted in December is when it's going to happen.
They haven't committed to anything, nor has there any been oh yeah, there is usually they put out material or even some kind of signals that it's happening. That's not even what we're getting at now. And I'm pretty sure Dana's just trying to be like, all right, well, it's out of my hands. I'm never trying to mess with it until one of them's ready. And pretty much we're all waiting for Connor. Chandler should have fought who? Your guy, the guy you love so much at lightweight, Armen Sarukian, and then. If you say he was as terrible as he is, he probably would have beat him and maintained his spot in the top 10 of
Well,
lightweight.
Chandler doesn't fight bums. That fight was never an option.
Oh my god, this fucking slander.
Well, he wants big names. Like
he's already fought all of them. he's literally he has I want to say a losing record currently. A 2-3 record at lightweight currently.
Well, here's what you do. You bring back Nate Diaz. You book him against Chandler at 170.
Oh my god.
It's the headliner.
165.
Everyone listens. Yeah, so anyway, Connor versus Chandler is happening in December 16th, like it or not. He'll get a waiver.
I don't think it. No, I don't
You all
think
can
it
cry,
is.
but he's going to lose anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Connor?
Hot take. Connor never fights again.
Oh, I'll put money on that too. And
Not
you'll put
MMA,
money on
not
that?
just box.
You'll put money on that?
I'd put money on it. I mean, if he comes back to
I'll
fight,
put
it's not
500
in the
baht on
UFC.
it right now.
What?
I'm
How
calling
much?
you out. Connor fights again. 500 baht.
500 baht.
Yeah, that's like $2, man. Come on.
I mean, it's still $2. But you know what? Fine. I'll take you up on
You
that.
said you bet on it.
I did, and I will because I'm a man, and a man makes a bet.
500 baht. Connor comes back.
500 baht.
So that's the whole bet. Connor comes back.
Yeah,
No,
Connor fights again.
By the date. He's saying December. I'm saying no.
Okay.
Whoa, wait, hold on a second here. I thought this was.
What?
Connor never
Now you
fights
want to
again.
change the bet?
I thought you said Connor. I'll go just. I don't give a fuck. Chatri believes in me. I believe in Chatri. 500 baht. He fights on December 16th.
You guys are witnesses to this, correct?
Yeah. I'm here.
Recorded
All
and
right.
everything.
So, all right. So we're agreeing if he comes back, it's going to be in December. But I'm not saying he's going to come back pretty much all December. You're saying he's going to come back December.
Yeah, December 16th.
I'm not
16th,
sure. He'll
okay.
fight again, quite frankly. And, what's your obsession with bringing Nate Diaz back, Dave? 'Cause
He's a
pretty
star.
good as well.
He's a star.
The only fight I want to see Nate Diaz in is the PFL MMA competition against Jake Paul. Because I know finally you will get the shit beaten out of him if he does that. Jake Paul, that is. Not Nate.
So you're not the only one that agrees with that. I agree with that as well. I think Jake Paul actually beats him worse than he did in boxing.
No. I think the other way around.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm alone on this
Jake
island.
Paul's dead. I mean, look at him. He nearly got him in a guillotine in the bloody boxing match, didn't he?
Dude, that guillotine was tight, man. There was no way he was getting out of that. Like
He wasn't.
picking
No,
Jake
this is
Paul.
false narrative. This is false
I would
narrative.
put 5,000
100%.
on that fight.
Okay.
Chatri, sit your tongue.
Like, there's no way that, like, that fight's not even going to happen because Jake knows he loses. And
I mean, he did say it.
Yeah, that's why I
The
want
one
to
who,
see.
yeah, Jake said it, and then sure enough, they're both. I mean, Jake is currently signed with the PFL to eventually fight on their promotion for MMA. When
Yeah.
that happens, who knows? But like, my whole thing is like, I would just like to see Jake Paul fight in MMA. Period. He's young enough; he can make the transition. Who's he going to fight in boxing? There's nobody he's going to fight in boxing unless it's either KSI or Tommy Fury. Other than those two, nobody wants to rewatch the Tommy Fury fight for some reason.
Those two, to be honest, like, I don't give.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that his only other option would be to come to MMA eventually.
All right. So to answer Danger's question, my obsession with Nate Diaz is I love a Nate Diaz fight. I love a Nate Diaz fight week. Crazy shit always happens. It's always the same old thing. Like, he didn't lose. The fight just ended too soon. And
Yeah.
it's just fun to have him around. I'm really hoping to see him back in the UFC after whatever he's doing with Jake Paul gets done.
I was
Nate
never a
Diaz.
huge fan of Nate. I always preferred Nick at the two Diaz brothers. Nick's much more fun.
Yeah, I was Team Nate.
A better boxer. I think he's better all round than Nate ever was. Nate's probably better at earning money than Nick was, but other than that, you can't say much.
Well, Nick was his own worst enemy promotionally. Like, he didn't like to do interviews, similar to Nate, but Nick was more antagonistic about it. Nate has been able to talk the more he's been on camera, whereas Nick never did that. Nick was more of like, I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. Like, he was more willing to lose money than make money, which is insane.
Nick fucking hated.
Nick's manager did him dirty too. Like, Nick's management is kind of fucked.
Yeah, they were for that last fight against what's his face?
Yeah, I think they've been fucked for a while too.
Yeah,
Like,
No, that's fair, but I mean,
I've
Yeah.
always been more Nate. I like him. I don't know why. Nick's fun.
Well, Nick was
I think Nick's actually a more fun fighter.
well, Nick
I
was
think-
the actual championship level fighter.
Yeah.
Nate fought
Yeah.
against Benson
They
and
won a
just
belt.
couldn't do anything to him.
Belt.
Yeah.
I think Nick was one of the when I first started. Because I saw UFC 1 and 2 on VHS back in 93, 94, whatever it was, and then I didn't really watch UFC. I didn't even know it existed anymore until I found it online. And I know it was back when the UFC was still naming cards, and I think it was somewhere around the high 70s or early 80s, something like that. And Nick was one of the first fighters I saw, and I guess he captured my eye when I watched him. Because I think it was quite a while later. It was ages before I found out Nick had been banned. I think I used to get Nick and Nate mixed up quite a lot.
I think a lot of people did,
Yeah.
especially in those early days when it was like, Nick was kind of like this mystery man because he was banned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just you seen a Diaz brother, it was like, oh, is that Nate? Is that Nick?
Yeah. Certainly how I was.
One thing I'll say about Nate Diaz, though, to go back to a previous point, Nate Diaz has never lost a fight. He's just run out of time.
Yeah, that's Dave's. But
Except
Dave's
Josh Thompson. I guess Josh Thompson, maybe. Oh,
Yeah.
Great commentator, by the way. Great podcaster, great commentator. We should all strive to that level of success. But he did lose to Josh Thompson fight.
We don't count that one.
No.
Yeah.
Agreed. The towel was thrown in beforehand. It was never a thing.
That's true. Nick threw in the towel.
God. Anything else anyone noticed or have heard through the grapevine?
That's about all I got. I think there's some terrible MMA on that I want to watch.
I did hear Ally Quint talking to Helen Yee, and he was saying that he'd heard from what he called a reliable source that the USADA deal was coming to an end shortly. Now, Helen Yee seems surprised, and I haven't heard anything, but that's what Ally Quint seems to think. Which, if that's the case, Connor could wait until just the deal ends. and then PRT Connor in the ring.
I think they'll re-up.
Sure. Yeah, I think. Well, what would be more beneficial for them to keep USADA or them to part ways with USADA?
Unless they're paying for, maybe they're trying to like cut the fat and they want to like do it internally to save some money. I think they'll re-sign with USADA. I mean, like I said, like the waivers have like special circumstances in them, so they can like use waivers and shit or just lie whenever. Like if you
Then why
remember
not just use it? Well,
like the first BMF fight, Nate failed the test, and they were just going to sweep it under the rug with USADA until he came public about it. So I mean,
I have more questions about that one, mainly because Nate bought his protein powder at Whole Foods, and it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna have some random shit in it. It's not like they're actually testing every single like, those facilities aren't that clean. You act like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It wasn't like he meant to take it on purpose. I think it was literally like, oh, there's some random shit in my protein shake, like an actual issue you can take up and sue the company for.
Yeah, people like
Yeah, no,
Nick,
I don't.
Nick and Nate, I can believe they would never willingly touch a performance-enhancing drug. They're just too anti it, and that it would destroy their reputation if they were caught with a real serious sample. So I can well
Yeah,
believe
like-
it's a tainted sample. Tainted.
I don't think Nate did it intentionally. I just think that goes to show that it's really convenient for UFC to have USADA on their side because they've shown they can try and sweep shit under the rug and be quiet about it. Like
Well,
they didn't.
They
Like,
do
they don't
have,
announce it anymore. Like Bueno Silva failed her test, and
No,
like no one would have
well,
known about
they
it unless
have-
she went public.
You remember why they did that, right? Why they don't say anything anymore?
Yeah, because of like false tests or like contaminated supplements and shit. And
Well, yeah, because like everybody would blast them for, they're a cheater, and it's like, oh, it comes out, well, technically it's like Elena Silva's thing where it's technically ADHD medicine. So they basically signed a policy in place that basically says we won't tell anybody about your failed drug test. You will be informed. The UFC will be informed, but nobody else will know. You just won't fight unless you say anything about it, which is your right, which is basically what it should be, almost like a doctor confidentiality, agreement situation. But
Yeah,
I'm,
that's why a lot of people have wondered about Hamzat being out for 13 months. Could it be?
and Jones being out for 3 years.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Jones.
It's John Jones.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. He wanted to
No,
bulk.
I think
up
that's a
to
good
be a
policy.
heavyweight.
Like that's a really good policy. It's just that they've shown that they can exploit that policy and still keep the USADA name. Like they were going to let Nate fight anyway, and no one was going to know until Nate went public about it. So I imagine
Well, it wasn't like it was
resign.
anything serious to begin with. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
literally like, oh, that's the thing I take from the Nate situation. He blew it out of proportion. It's just like legit. It could have been something where it's like, yeah, no, it's just a misunderstanding because you took this thing. That's fine. That makes more sense. He just wanted to be like, oh, they're gonna just say I cheated. No one's gonna think you cheated, Nate. I mean, look at you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I guess the bottom line with me is I kind of got Luke Thomas's view on this. It's like I don't care who does their drug testing. Like I don't really care what happens as long as my fights keep happening. I'm okay.
So where do you go with that? Do you say we'll have a division where it's fine to use performance-enhancing drugs, and we have a division where it's illegal? Or do you
No,
or do
just
you
keep
do-
this. No, just I
Yeah.
would just keep the current system where everyone cheats. Everyone but
Oh,
the
God.
Diaz brothers.
I'm gonna side on the opposite side on this one, where it's like, I might as well at least try, man. I mean, we're not going back to the Pride era anymore or anytime soon. I mean, yes, there's cheating. People get caught cheating, and I think I'm on Aaron Bronstetter's line of thinking on this one, where it's like people do get caught still. I mean, obviously, Myra Bueno Silva got caught, and it wasn't even performance enhancing. It's an ADHD medication. I mean,
Well, it might be. ADHD medicine tends to be heavy in amphetamines. That might be a little performance enhancing. She didn't take it in competition.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like you still caught it. They still caught it. And what Luke Thomas is saying, and I disagree with him on this, where it's like, well, they could just cheat the test. So it's like, Like, they can, maybe, but that requires a shit ton of money, and the only reason why you would take a shit ton of money to do that is because you have a shit ton of exposable income to do that. Like Connor, you know?
Well, here's the
look at
thing.
Chris,
Here's the thing, though.
you know?
Fighters are still 90% of the roster probably is still cheating. Like no
I
matter
doubt
what they
that,
do,
seriously.
I think you'd be surprised.
No,
Like
and
these
it's not even
coaches,
so much
these high
that.
level coaches, they know what's up. Like you
I
got,
mean,
you know,
I
your major MMA
maybe,
coaches. Like
maybe you're right, but I doubt that accessibility exists everywhere, which is what I'm saying. A majority of the new people who are coming in, if they do fail a test, most of the time it's the low level guys that do. And again, most of the time when they do, it's because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Whereas the old guard, majority of them are going to try to cheat because what's the point? Then you get caught and then it's 2 year suspension. Look at TJ Dillashaw, you know?
well, my point
Unless you
is
have a name, what's the point?
cheaters are always going to cheat, no matter how much testing they do. The cheaters are
I
always
just
going to
don't think
cheat.
it's. No,
So you can do like
yeah.
it's going to be in the
I
sport no matter what, like it or not.
No, I agree. I just don't think it's as rampant as everybody makes it sound. It's not like
You
the
crazy?
NFL where these guys are
You
walking away with
crazy?
millions of dollars, you know, or boxing where they're walking away with $20 million each. These
Everyone's
are
on steroids.
low level income guys who are literally blue collar, who are walking in from the street to make it onto the Contender Series. Your average Joe is now inside the UFC, where that wasn't the case before.
Yeah, I think their coaches know what's up. I think most of them have the same group of 10 coaches that are pretty familiar with that shit, but it is what it
Fair.
is.
Not fair enough. Yeah, that's fair.
You go. Here's one for you then, Seplo. Pick your 3 fighters that you would never expect to get caught for a performance enhancing, i.e., you really think they're clean, or 5 if you want 3 or 5.
Okay. Let's see.
Weidman, Edgar, Diaz, Machida, Bisping.
Bisping
And
Machida's
one
the
of them
only
actually
one
got
who-
caught for,
Yeah, no, Machida's the only one who did.
yeah. But those are 5 that I would think would never, ever touch the shit.
Yeah, Bisping's out of the game, but I'll let you have him.
All right, let me see. If I was gonna pick 5, 5 would be Robert Whitaker, Max Holloway. I would have said Frankie Edgar, so I'm not gonna say Frankie Edgar. I'll say BJ Penn. I'll say I would have said Forrest Griffin back in the day, but I'm not gonna go with Forrest Griffin. I'll say Glover Teixeira, and my 5th would have been probably Leon Edwards.
You've got 3 of mine in there, the first 2 and the last one.
Interesting. You had Leon Edwards too, DangerMouse.
Yeah, Leon, Max Holloway, and I'm trying to think who you said the first time.
Whitaker.
Whitaker, yeah, thank you. And if I want to throw another 2 on top, I would go for Tom Aspinall, another Englishman, because he don't need to, quite frankly.
He's such a nice dude. I doubt he'd do it willingly.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. He just seems like a really honest, decent guy. Plus, I'm biased again. He's English.
That's fair.
I was biased with my America picks. Fucking Chris
And
Weidman and Frankie Edgar are like
I'll
America.
Yeah, I could pick either Justin Gaethje or Stephen Thompson for my. I don't know if that's my fourth, fifth,
Oh,
or
damn
sixth.
you.
Wonder Boy.
Those are
Wonder
good
Boy's
ones.
a good one.
Yeah.
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 That's. I was actually looking on the rankings for Sean Strickland because I don't think he would either. That was the name.
Oh, no, he'd say you're a pussy for doing it.
Exactly.
I do kind of share that mentality with him. I'll say that.
Oh, I would say picking from the names left over. Let's see. I don't think Volk would. Volk doesn't strike me as that kind of guy.
No, that's a good one.
You guys named a lot of the really good ones.
I know Izzy never took a PE in his life. I forgot that one.
I can probably
Technically
name.
hasn't failed a test either.
I think Costa got his USADA jacket. That's a good entry.
I would say Chandler, but Chandler looks like he takes them.
Oh,
well,
Chandler takes everything. What? He does it
But he's
for a
got
good
that
reason.
persona. He's got that all-American fucking boy next door thing going on.
Yeah.
what about
I mean,
Anthony Smith? I couldn't see Anthony Smith taking him.
Yeah, that's
No,
probably
because he's got other drugs that are in his system, probably.
You know,
I
such a
think
good
Anthony
friend.
Smith would take him.
Bisping would disown him if he ever popped for steroids.
That's true. That's actually true.
That's true.
Yes.
Shavkat. I don't think Shavkat would. Shavkat seems like a man of honor.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice at all.
You say Shavkat?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shop Cop Rock.
Yeah, I thought you said Kamzat at first. I thought it
Oh,
might
no,
not
Kamzat.
be.
Answer questions.
He does
No.
whatever fucking Kadyrov tells him to.
That's true. You tell him it's vitamins. It's fine.
Paul
Yeah.
Craig. Paul Craig, of course.
I think
He-
he would, mainly because he's losing.
I think
I
he's
think he
doing something to cut down to 185.
I think he's being enhanced by recreational drugs, if anything.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. He's Scottish.
Oh, true.
highest drug death rate in Europe, I believe.
Holy
Knife
shit.
crime.
Is that a thing?
Get the knife crime out there.
They love their smack up in Scotland.
God.
Great drug. Never tried it.
Right? What's another name you could throw out there? Cruz?
I would have put Anderson Silva on there until,
He
shoot him down.
I think Anderson was the exception. I think he did what
Connor's
who
doing.
was it? Yeah, I think that was the other thing too. It's like it's fine, just say the thing, but then you gotta come back and do it what everybody else is. I mean, Chris had to do it. You know? I get the whole he's a star kind of thing, but like, you know, at least try to make it seem like you're not, oh, well, I got to do I'm doing this for my family. If you cared about your family, you wouldn't be going out and fucking partying all night, you fucking prick, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't think, Caceres. Alex Caceres, because he does
That's
enemas.
a good one.
That is another good one. Yeah.
That's the
Smoke a
thing.
ton of pot, though.
He does.
He lives that Bruce Lee life.
He does.
Or that Bruce Leroy life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me think of Prohashka. Prohashka probably would be a good one.
Yeah, that is.
Oh,
a good
yeah.
one. Like he's a samurai and shit.
Yeah, Mr. Martial Arts life. Bushido.
Right.
You could put the Dawkins brothers on there. They never took a PE in their lives.
No, I think that one's questionable. I think they have to.
Have you seen them?
What's a
No,
little-
that's true, but like still.
He may have to cut down to 205, but sure didn't look like it.
No
Yeah,
way. He's
he was
a
capped.
former law enforcement. There's no way he would ever do such a thing.
I'm former law enforcement.
So don't we back the blue around here? What the fuck? This is MMA. We're supposed to be conservative.
that true American values.
Yeah.
Interesting that
Yeah.
no one's named a single female that they trust.
I don't think that counts the same way though, right?
Roxanne Mataferri. No way. She never took shit.
Absolutely.
That's a good
That's a-
Would Rose count?
No, Rose. She takes what Pat Barry tells her to take, so.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot
He
of
tells her
history
it's
there.
Flintstone vitamins.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's
Yeah.
like, here, inject these Flintstones chewables. It's new flavor.
Okay, Pat. Oh god.
Cyborg,
so
she's
weird.
been clean for a long time.
Well, I
Yeah.
think she is now. I mean, she looks like she actually is her age as a fighter.
Yeah.
Holly Holm, preacher's daughter.
Mm. She takes
I
everything.
mean,
She takes
no,
everything.
you know what? I'm on his side. Lazy's got a point. She doesn't have any good technique anymore. Therefore, she only knows how to do a couple things. Otherwise, she'd be knocking people out or submitting them left and right.
Yeah, if she was juiced, she'd be fucking kicking people's heads off.
No,
See?
she
Yep.
is used. She uses her strength now and just holds people against the wall and stall. The Aaron
That doesn't
Blanchfield
require
has been
much
calling
when you're literally got the frame and just a little bit of know-how. It's not like she's inquiring but that's the other half too, is that women's MMA, they all kind of mirror each other. If
Have you
let's say
seen Holly
Raquel
Holm?
Pennington, I am just saying, did you watch the Raquel Pennington fight?
Yeah.
They
Holly
both
Holm is
clinched
my
in.
age. And
Well,
she's fucking
she
shredded.
clinched. Well, it's not.
She's shredded and she's really strong. And the
She's
good
been
thing
a.
about Christian, and she's a Christian. And with
Well,
Christians, you
I
can
don't know
take
if
this
she's a
shit.
Christian
You just have to
anymore. She
ask for
got the.
forgiveness.
I'm just saying, I don't think that's how that works, but that's fine.
No, it is. You do whatever you want and you ask for forgiveness.
She could just go to her dad's house and fucking do confession right there.
Yeah.
Well-
I want to say I don't want to go all in on if like Austin's religious. I don't want to like.
No,
shit
that's
on
not
her.
even no. That's not even no. I was just gonna say no. I don't think she uses it like
Have
that.
you seen
I think I swear to God, she looks like a thumb with a face.
Yeah, but a muscle thumb.
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
You don't look like that when you're 43 without taking some like shit.
That's
I
probably
don't think
true.
I don't think she has kids. She got
No,
time.
but she also had that symptom like it's kind of weird to say, but when you take drugs, sometimes you're with the females, the camel toe area gets really bad, and there was like a big controversy about her activities with that.
That's a new one on
Is
me.
that a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
She
like
may be
gyno, but for women.
like dabbling in the testosterone and things are
Oh yeah, that's
Things are
right.
growing.
Yeah,
God damn it! All right, now I
I mean, it was a
something to-
thing. Like it was clearly
I thought it
obvious
was
at
more
one point, and something's not
Well,
normal.
I always
Oh.
thought if you took them, if I'm not mistaken, it usually thickened the brow and then made the voice octaves a little deeper. That's why a lot of the Brazilians have deep voices, apparently.
No, I think they just have deep voices because they're Brazilian.
I mean, do you think Andrade just has a naturally nice voice? Cyborg, naturally nice voice. Amanda, maybe, but that's just because she just beat the shit out of people for a living.
No,
But that's-
Amanda was on the sauce, definitely. She was on.
She never looked like it because she was always tired after the first round.
Well, there's different drugs for different things.
this is true.
God.
Angela
We're just
Hill,
wondering.
she has too spotty a record to be on anything.
No, that's true. Yeah. Any other names? Nothing.
this shit really went off the rails real quick.
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Random questions.
Somehow wound up on enlarged areas.
Oh,
now it's.
that's Dave's fault.
Yeah.
I'm not taking responsibility.
I
For
think.
that.
Well, yeah. Well, Dave's whole spiel about Armen really threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't think. I mean, I thought that was known to everyone. I didn't mean to shit on your guy. I
No,
thought everyone.
that was actually so shocking and surprising and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
I think the big takeaways here today have been Dave hates Armen, he hates Parker Porter, and Nate Diaz is coming back to fight somebody at 170.
All
You
right,
guys
so
wanna-
that's all I
Yeah.
have. Tonight. That was a pretty good episode 0, though. I think.
Yeah, for winging it.
I mean,
I think there's actually some usable shit there with some editing and maybe cutting out all the dick stuff that I went into earlier.
you might as well just keep that in. for notes.
Yeah.
You're actually going to edit stuff. Wow.
Well, I went. Yeah, I was kind of when it was just me and Austin. Things got that stuff doesn't need to make the podcast.
Let's get back and forth. That's fine. You need a be positive and a negative, either way. Sometimes you need a Jed Meshew versus Brian Campbell. Occasionally it works.
No, I'll keep some of it, but like some of the shit where I'm like asking you about your job and shit, I gotta like cut that out.
Yeah, it's up to you, Matt. I don't care either way.
My squirrel friend's here though. If you guys are all interested in, I'm about to feed him.
There you go.
Yeah, so
What's his name?
I think in the future maybe like a intro. Like we didn't do an intro today, but
Yeah, there was.
intro or outro where we say our names and shit. And we need a name.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the podcast has a name.
Next time
No.
we need to be a lot more prepared. Like we need to talk a few days in advance. Like if we're gonna do it on a Sunday, we need to do like a rundown on a Friday or something like that. Get an idea of what our
The thing
segment
is we normally talk about the fights on Saturday, so we'd have to like. Well, I guess we could plan ahead for what we're going to talk about from what we saw.
Yeah, just a running order.
Yeah, some
LazyBed.
bullet points so we know what we're going off of. And
We need a leader.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it LazyBed